Hey you guys, welcome to Zportz Editz. So in this video, with the NFL playoffs coming up this weekend, I'm going to give you guys my NFL playoff prediction. I'm going to go over each of the 6 matchups this weekend, and then next weekend in the divisional round, and then the AFC and NFC championship, and then I'm just going to give my ultimate Super Bowl matchup prediction and who I think is going to win the Super Bowl. So in this video, I'm just going to go over each matchup, each team. I'm also going to go over key players and their records and just overall and how I think they're going to do in the playoffs. The first matchup that I'm going to be going over is the Colts and the Bills. For the Colts and the Bills, I think it's going to be a really good matchup. The Colts have key players like Phillip Rivers, T.Y. Hilton, Jonathan Taylor, and they finish with a record of 11-5. With the Bills having Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Devin Singletary, and finishing with a record of 13-3. After thinking about this matchup long and hard, I'm obviously going to root for my boy Rivers leading the Colts. But after thinking long and hard about it, I'm probably going to end up choosing the Buffalo Bills to advance. They just have a really good defense and they have too much firepower on offense, and I think the running game for the Colts is going to stall a little bit against the Bills. So I'm going to pick the Bills to win this first matchup. The next matchup that's happening on Saturday is the Rams and Seahawks. For the Rams, the key players that they have Aaron Donald, Cam Akers, and Jalen Ramsey, and they also finished up a season record of 10-6. For the Seahawks, they have Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, and Jamal Adams, and they also finished with a record 12-4. So going into this game, I realized that the Rams probably aren't going to start with their quarterback, Jared Goff. And I mean, they have a good defense. Obviously, they have Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald. But at the end of the day, Russell Wilson has too much playoff experience, and he has too many good players surrounding him. He has too many good players surrounding him to not win. So I think the Seahawks are going to win. For the third and final matchup on Saturday, it's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Washington football team. So the key players for the Buccaneers, they have Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, and they finish with a record of 11-5. The Washington football team have Alex Smith, Antonio Gibson, and Chase Young, and finish with a record of 7-9. I can pretty much say it's a no-brainer who's gonna win. It's gonna be obviously the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think it's gonna be honestly I think it's gonna be a blowout. I think it'll at least be around 28-10. I think that's going to be the score for the final game on Saturday. Looking ahead to Sunday's matchups, the first matchup that's going to happen is the Ravens and Titans. The Ravens' key players that they have are Lamar Jackson, Hollywood Brown, J.K. Dobbins, and they finished with a record of 11-5. For the Titans, some of the key players that they have is Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and A.J. Brown, and they also finished with a record of 11-5. I think the Rams and Titans, the last couple seasons of them playing against each other, especially last season with them playing in the playoffs, I think it's going to be a complete just run fest. Like, Derrick Henry's going to run for at least more than 150 yards. I think J.K. Dobbins and either Gus Edwards or Mark Ingram, and Lamar, obviously. It's just going to be complete running spree, and I think the Titans are going to run away with it. I think they're going to win. I think they have a better defense than the Ravens, and I don't see any team stopping Derrick Henry right now. The next matchup that I'm going to be talking about is the Bears and Saints. The Bears have key players like Mitchell Trubisky, Allen Robinson, and Khalil Mack, and they finished with a record of 8-8. The Saints have Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, and Mike Slants Thomas, and they also finished with a record of 12-4. This one is kind of a no-brainer too. I think the Saints are going to easily dominate the Bears. Mitchell Trubisky, he's not very clutch. I don't see him as a good quality quarterback. I think next year he'll be a backup quarterback for whatever needy team is out there. The Saints are playing for something this year, and that something is for Drew Brees, because this is probably Drew Brees' last season before he starts commentating on Sunday Night Football with Mike Tirico. And I think they're just going to really buckle down this time in the playoffs, and they're going to try their best to kind of put something together for him. The third and final matchup of Wild Card Weekend is the Browns and Steelers. The Browns, their key players consist of Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry, and they finish with a record of 11-5, while the Steelers have Ben Roethlisberger, Chase Claypool, and Juju Smith-Schuster, and they finished with a record of 12-4. This one was probably the hardest matchup to kind of predict and have an ending result for. I like Baker. I know people don't like Baker, and they don't think he's clutch and all this and that. And given with Ben Roethlisberger and his playoff experience, winning 2 Super Bowls and having a good defense and good offense this year, they're not consistent of late. I think it's going to be a really super close game, but at the end of the day, I think I'm going to choose the Browns. I mean, they have a really good run game. They got Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, and they got really good receivers like Jarvis Landry, Rashad Higgins, and they got 3 really good tight ends. So it's going to be kind of hard to stop them. Hopefully their defense can really step it up against that really good Steelers offense. And yeah, I hope that they can kind of go deep in the playoffs. So for next weekend's matchup, the first matchup that I'm going to be talking about is the Titans and the Bills. So I've already gone over the Titans and Bills. Ultimately, who I think is going to win is the Bills. They just have a way better defense than the Titans. And I think Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs are just going to kind of take over that Titans defense. They don't really have any significantly good players, and they don't have a really good pass rush to get after Josh Allen. The next matchup that I'm going to be talking about is the Browns versus the Chiefs. So with the Browns and Chiefs, I think this is where with the Browns and Chiefs, I think this is where Baker and his little run will end. It's kind of hard to stop Patrick Mahomes when you got guys like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Le'Veon Bell, maybe even a healthy Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That offense is way too powerful, and it's probably going to be really hard for them to stop. So I think the Chiefs are going to probably advance. For the NFC, the first matchup that I'm going to be talking about is the Saints and Seahawks. So the Saints and Seahawks, I think overall both teams are pretty good. Same thing. Drew Brees, this is probably his last year most likely, and the whole Saints team overall has something to play for. And I think at this point, the Seahawks, they just don't have a good enough defense to kind of combat against Drew Brees and his Saints. So I think the Saints are going to advance. The last matchup I'm going to be talking about is the Buccaneers and Packers. So they played each other this year, and it was kind of a blowout with the Buccaneers being on top. This time around, I think the Packers really learned from that matchup. And you guys got to remember, too, that the Buccaneers are traveling to Green Bay. So they're basically going to the frozen tundra, out of all places where it's going to be probably -degree weather. And honestly, I think the Packers are going to really lean on their run game that they have with Aaron Jones. And I think that because of the weather and the run game that they have, it'll be too overpowering. I think it'll be a close game, but at the end of the day, I think the Packers will advance. So for my AFC Championship prediction, I think it's going to end up being between the Bills and the Chiefs. So these are two really good teams this year, not going to lie. They both have really good offenses. Their defenses are both kind of meh. But at the end of the day, I think whoever scores the most points in this game is probably going to win. And I see that being the Chiefs. The Chiefs are too good. They're too hard to stop. And just, I don't see how anyone's going to be able to stop them. For my NFC Championship matchup, it's going to be against the Packers and the Saints. So ultimately, same thing. They're going to end up having to travel to the frozen tundra, and they're going to have to deal with, it being negative degree weather again. And then, I just think overall, the Packers have a little bit better of a defense than the Saints. So I'm sorry to say this, Saints fans, but I think Drew Brees and his career is going to end right after this game. I don't think he's going to end up playing in the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be the Packers. So to end this video, I think the Super Bowl matchup is going to be between the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs. They both have really good offenses. They have really good firepower. They both have really key superstars and players on both sides of the ball. And I think at the end of the day, same thing. It's just who's going to be able to score the most points. And I honestly think the Green Bay Packers are going to win the Super Bowl. I think the Green Bay Packers are going to win the Super Bowl because they have a better defense than the Chiefs. And I think just Aaron Rodgers and being a veteran and knowing how to run his team and clock management and all this kind of stuff, I think he'll be able to overpower Mahomes in that Chiefs offense. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I hope all my predictions are true. It most likely won't be. I think there'll be a blurb, or it'll be a storybook season. You'll have like a team that you have. I think there'll be a dark horse team. I don't know what team that will be. But yeah, those are my playoff predictions. I hope you guys like them. If you guys don't like them, that's fine. Maybe in the comments tell me why, and let me know what your guys' playoff predictions are. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next vid.